Pelosi is heeding calls for the creation of a September 11th style commission to investigate last month's deadly riot at the U.S. Capitol. In a letter to House Democrats yesterday, Pelosi said Congress will establish an independent commission to investigate and report on the attack, as well as interference in election proceedings. Pelosi also said the House will appropriate additional funds to boost security at the Capitol. While multiple congressional committees are already in the process of scheduling hearings to investigate the riot, the Washington Post points out that supporters of the commission say such an initiative will have broader authority than those committees to pursue testimony from those in Trump's orbit, voices that were not part of the impeachment inquiry, and that the commission will not be under the same time constraints of those committee investigations as it produces its findings. So they'll take their time to really lay out the case of what happened, Joe, using the voices of the very people who might have been involved in inciting the deadly riot.
Well, it has to be done for a variety of reasons. First of all, we need to make sure that the center of American democracy is never as compromised as it was on January the 6th. I know there are idiots on other cable news channels that will say, well, you know, this mom and pop store was vandalized during the summer riots, and that's just as bad as the United States Capitol being vandalized. No, actually, no, jackass, it's not. The Capitol of the United States of America is the center of American democracy. And while I am a fierce believer in people's right to defend their private property, I'm not going to confuse a taco stand with the United States Capitol. I'm not going to confuse the selling of tacos with actually moving through a constitutional process that is laid out in the United States Constitution for members of the House and the Senate to actually to perform their constitutional duties. No. Property damage does not equal insurrection. And you have to be really stupid. And I've heard a lot of really stupid people over the past month try to make that argument, and it doesn't cut it. I will say there are a few Republicans, even Republicans who have acted shamefully over the past month, who are also calling for a 9/11 style commission. And Richard Haas, you actually, from the very start, you said you weren't so sure that impeachment was a proper way to go because you predicted how it was going to end. You predicted how it would lead to even more frustration. You predicted that Donald Trump would be able to take a victory lap and say he was acquitted yet again, and his allies would be able to say he's acquitted yet again. You said a 9/11 style commission made a lot more sense. Then I suspect you still believe it's the proper thing to do, and a lot of Republicans agree with you, as well as I think just about every Democrat. Why is this 9/11 style commission so important?
Well, Joe, it's so important in part because of the limits to what we just experienced with impeachment. You didn't have witnesses. It was rushed. It was wildly politicized, still in the heat of the moment. A 9/11-like commission will probably take something of a year. It could subpoena all sorts of witnesses, dig into all sorts of things. It could take a very large purview. It could look at the backdrop politically. It could look at law enforcement and intelligence issues. It can go beyond the immediacy of January 6th, so that's plenty important, and look at the domestic terrorism threat, the white nationalist threat. It can look at the question of norms in American politics. And so, one, it can uncover a whole lot. Two, Joe, what might be as important as anything, it could be an extraordinary teaching moment. Countries need history. We need narratives. We need stories. This is now, I'm sad to say, a really important part of the American narrative. We can't afford to lose this as a teaching moment.